If you've got a second-gen Chevrolet Colorado and you want to upgrade the factory headlights to LED, you're going to run into some challenges with the shallow factory dust caps. Well, today, I'm going to show you some options to consider so that you can complete that upgrade and you can see much better at night after doing the LED upgrade. Let's go. Hey guys, Jason here in my garage. Glad to have you here, and I'm glad I'm talking about this because I think it might solve a lot of problems for a lot of second-gen Chevrolet Colorado owners. One of the biggest things that I see people posting about in the forums and on the Facebook groups and all that is I'm trying to upgrade my weak, lame factory halogen headlights to aftermarket LED, and the dust caps aren't deep enough, and the fan of the LED that I want to upgrade to is hitting the back on the inside. What do I do? And a lot of people have offered up a lot of different solutions, and that's what I'm going to show you today, including my favorite one that I recommend everybody do. A couple things I want to talk about real quick. There are some lights out there that do fit, like the Diode Dynamics SL1, which I've reviewed many times in my previous videos. Check them out on the rest of my channel. I also know that there's some Oxido branded LED headlights that also fit under the factory dust caps, but most of them have a pretty good size heat sink that just don't fit. So hopefully this will help you out if you're looking to do those upgrades. Something else I want to talk about real quick before I jump into it. A lot of people ask me, well, won't it get super hot underneath the dust cap, and you know, won't that cause a problem? Actually, doubtful, because I've done measurements on the factory H11 halogen bulb, and those things heat up to about 300 degrees in a matter of a couple minutes, maybe not even that. They get pretty hot pretty fast. And when you upgrade to an LED, even cheap LEDs that are overdriven and don't have a whole lot of heat management, they go to about 160, 170 degrees Fahrenheit on average from my testing. A higher quality one with better heat management will hover around the 120, 130, 140 area. So the question is, well, isn't that fan going to generate a whole bunch of heat? Well, my question back to you is, well, where does the heat from the factory bulb go? It's got to... If it'll handle the factory bulb, it'll handle the fan from the LED upgrade, which is also circulating heat when you think about it. So that's not really a concern typically. So anyway, having said all that, hopefully those answers will help you out. Having said all that, let's get into some of the options that I found on the internet for upgrading your Chevrolet Colorado dust caps. The first option that I see people post about every now and then is to do this. Not use them at all. And this is an absolutely terrible idea. And the reason why is these are designed the way that they are for a reason. And we call these dust caps for a reason. And there's this blue gasket here on them for a reason. And that is to keep moisture and dust and dirt out of the inside of the headlight capsule. And I see people say, well, I don't go down dirt roads, or I don't plan to go off-roading, so I'm not going to submerge the front end of my vehicle, so I'm just going to go without so I can use longer headlights. And that's really a bad idea, because eventually, no matter what, you're going to get dirt and dust inside that headlight capsule if you don't keep these on there. Think of it like this. Fully detail your engine bay and go on a 5,000-mile drive, and then lift the hood. The engine bay is a dirty place, and the engine is going to be dirty after those miles. You can't stop that from happening, and that dirt, without these caps, are going to get inside your headlight capsule and eventually make its way in between the projector light and the lens, and it's going to cloud things up and make it so you can't see, and it's going to look like crap, or either that or moisture and condensation is going to get in there and build up as well, and then it's going to be foggy on the inside of the lens, and you don't want that. So definitely don't go without the factory dust caps. Another method that I see people do, and I see them post a lot, is what I call the hack and stack method. And what they do is they take one of these OEM dust caps, and they cut a big hole right there, and then they cut these fins off, and then they buy another one, or buy 4 if they want to do all 4 lights. By the way, if you need the part number to buy another one, it is this, 234-86492. And what they do is, after they cut that hole and pull these fins off, they stack this on top of it, and they use epoxy or some sort of glue or silicone to secure it in place. And again, I think this is the most common way that people do it. It's not terribly expensive. When you buy 4 of these new ones, it's probably going to cost you about 30 or 40 bucks altogether with shipping. And it seems to work pretty well. You just got to make sure that you cut pretty carefully so you don't ruin them. Otherwise, you got to buy more. And make sure that you seal them up really, really good after you stack them together in silicone or epoxy them. That's another way to do it. I think a little bit more elegant than the hack and stack method that I just mentioned is just to modify the existing one and use something different. Now, I've seen people post that they've cut a hole here to make room for the light, and then they cut the bottom of like a Zep bottle, like a spray bottle that you get at Home Depot or Lowe's off, and glue it into place. One time I saw a guy say that he cut the bottom of a Jif peanut butter jar off, the plastic peanut butter jar, and glued it into place. I don't know how either one of those are going to work because an engine bay gets pretty hot, and as I mentioned, even though the LEDs run cooler than OEM, they also do get pretty warm. But I saw a new method that I really, really like on coloradofans.com, a Colorado forum. One of the users, his name is Black Mountain NC, said that he took a 2.5-inch hole saw and cut a hole right there, and then he used an A286 cap extension that you can get from just about any off-road or LED light retailer, and he siliconed that in place. And I thought that was a pretty cool method to do. It was pretty inexpensive. It seemed to be pretty elegant. I really thought that was a nice way to do it. It's nice, it's cheap, and it seemed to do the job. I'll put a link in the description of this video to that thread on coloradofans.com if you want to check it out. Another option I want to talk to you about is this. Get somebody to 3D print a deeper dust cap. One of my favorite channels on YouTube, other than my own, of course, is Horsepower Obsessed. The guy that runs that, his name is Justin. If you haven't seen it, you got to check it out. He made a video about these earlier in the year, and he encouraged people if they were interested to reach out to him, and so I did, and I got a set of these. I got 4 of them through him, and I really like this method. Now, here's the deal. These things take about 12 hours to make each, and it is definitely not the cheapest. It's the most expensive method, but it's the one that I like the most because there's no hacking, there's no risk of moisture or dirt or leakage getting in if you're modifying something. Basically, it's designed after the OEM part, but it's just about a 1/2 inch deeper, just deep enough to give you that extra room that you need. And basically, it just uses the OEM gasket, so you make sure that you get a good seal. Just like that. So if you want to get a set of these, a couple of them or all 4 for all 4 lights, then what I would encourage you to do is to head over to the video that Justin at Horsepower Obsessed made, and I'll put a link to the description below. And they're $29.99 each, all 4 of them, $119.96, and then for $10 more, he'll throw in this cool ignition ring, which is available in red or black, and it just cleans up the ignition area of the center of the steering column. And on a side note, guys, this trim ring is actually pretty dang effective. I realized once I got it installed, which as you saw was super easy, you just press it into place, how much it cleans up this area. And what makes that effective is that this area is something that you have to look at almost every time you use your vehicle because, of course, that's where you put your key. I, for the life of me, have absolutely no idea why we did not get keyless remote start with this vehicle. But it is what it is, and that trim ring makes it look a lot better. It's a nice touch. For 10 bucks, it'll make the interior look a little bit better. I mean, after all, why not? So again, head over to the video that I'm going to put in the description below. Reach out to Justin and see if you can get a set of these. I really like these, and now I'm going to go install them so we can see how they fit in the OEM position compared to the OEM part. So right there is the factory cap, and you can see how far it goes out. Now let's install the 3D printed cap. I took the factory one off, pulled the gasket off, stuck it on the new one. That took all of about maybe a minute. That's it. Piece of cake. So there you go, guys. I hope this helps some of my second-gen Chevrolet Colorado friends with upgrading their LED headlights. And speaking of which, a little personal disclaimer that I feel like I really got to mention. Upgrading factory halogens to LEDs in the factory housings is not currently road legal, not a DOT approved practice, so it's for off-road use only. you know what I'm talking about. So, all right, special thanks to Justin at Horsepower Obsessed for offering these up. They're really super high quality. Check out the video that I linked if you're interested in them. Or if you've got other suggestions on how to modify your factory caps or what you've done in the past that might help somebody out, feel free to post them in the comments below. If you got any questions, of course, post in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for hanging out in my garage. If you found that this helped you, please support this channel in any way you prefer. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in my next video.